Hey scholars, this is video 1.4 about the 3 introductory poems. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how to analyze the poems, and I'm also going to change the directions a little bit. The directions tell you, as you read, take notes using the analysis tools from the video. That's still going to be true. After you read each poem, respond to the writing prompt. The one thing that is different is that the must do is that you analyze one poem. All right, the should do is you analyze two, and the aspire to do is you analyze all three. Okay, so you get to pick a poem. There are 3 different poems here. So let's take a look at them. Poem 1 is called We Wear the Mask, and it's written by Paul Laurence Dunbar. There's some information about the author there. And you can see here is the poem. It's written like a poem with the lines broken and the capital, first letter of each line capitalized. We've got the line numbers here. And so it looks just like a poem is supposed to look. The analysis tools that I'm talking about are these down here, TPCOSTT. Okay? TPCOSTT. So let's take a look at those. The first T is title. And so for this part, you're supposed to look at the title, We Wear the Mask, and write it down, and then talk about what this inspires in you, what kind of thoughts and feelings it inspires in you. So for me, when I think of a mask, I think of a way to kind of hide your true self. Halloween's coming up. I kind of think about the masks that people wear at Halloween. So I might write something like that. Hiding your true self comes to mind, or wearing a mask for Halloween. What comes to mind for you when you hear that title, We Wear the Mask? I think it's also kind of interesting that it's a group of people, right? We shows it's a group. And that's kind of interesting too. That kind of gets my attention. All right, the next thing, the P in TPCOSTT, is paraphrase. Paraphrase means say the same thing in your own words. Sometimes you can shorten it a little bit, but you want to make sure that you don't take out anything important from the original. So the original is these 15 lines. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile. So that's the first stanza. And we've got one tough word here that has an asterisk next to it. So that shows that the definition is down here. Guile is a noun. It means sly or cunning intelligence, the use of clever and usually dishonest methods to achieve something. So let's see. Let's try to paraphrase this poem by doing it stanza by stanza. We wear the mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human deception, maybe we could say instead of guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile. All right, so we're going to say it again. We wear a happy face mask, I'm going to say, instead of grins and smiles. And it hides our faces, our cheeks, and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile. So hides our cheeks and eyes. Why cheeks and eyes, do you think? Isn't that where we would see proof of crying? So this kind of hides the crying, the tears on the cheeks, the red eyes. And it is a debt to deception or sly or cunning intelligence, dishonest methods to achieve something. So something about deception, maybe. This debt we pay to human deception. With torn and bleeding hearts we smile. It's a debt to human deception that with hurt hearts, we smile. Something like that. All right, and then the C is we have to paraphrase the other two stanzas. So this one you'd have to do the same with, and then this one. And there are tough words in here, but they are defined at the bottom. So make use of that. Myriad, countless, subtleties, small details or differences that are important but not obvious, and vile, extremely unpleasant, wicked, or immoral. All right, so you paraphrase the other two stanzas there. Now, connotation is the C in TPCOSTT. Connotation is getting at what hints or feelings are created by a particular word or image. So if something connotes something, it means it hints at. It kind of gives us a certain flavor or feeling or sense. And we have to look really carefully at words, a particular word, in order to create that connotation. Find one from each stanza. In the first stanza, we wear the mask that grins and lies, it hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human God, with torn and bleeding hearts we smile. I'm going to say debt. What is the connotation about debt? What is the kind of feeling that word creates? And I want you to find one for stanzas 2 and 3. Debt, well, for me, it creates the feeling, and you can start your sentence the same way, creates the feeling that it has to be repaid. There is kind of a kind of risk or danger or negative association to this word. All right, you find one for stanza 2 and stanza 3. As far as shifts, this is where we see a change from one stanza to the next. Here we have and mouth with myriad subtleties. We smile but, oh great Christ, our cries. I think the best transitions are found towards the end of a poem. And in this last stanza, we have the word but twice. So there's a transition between or a shift. That's what a shift is, a transition. So the change between smiling and what is really beneath the smile. And I think you'll have to include a line here. And but, oh great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise is a good one. And when we quote lines from poetry, we put a slash there to show a line break. So there is a movement, a shift, we'll say. There is a shift from happy to really sad, tortured souls. See if you can find one more shift. And I think there's a good one at the very end here, where these last 3 lines. All right, opening and ending lines. Here you deal with the very first line and the very last line. And if you notice, it's repeated. We wear the mask. And it's the same as the title. We wear the mask that grins and lies. If you look down at the very end, it's just we wear the mask, exclamation mark. So copy the opening and ending lines and make some comment about them. In this case, it's going to be, there's a repetition. But without the grinning and smiling, maybe creating the effect that it's not quite as happy by the ending. Then read the title again and determine, what is the importance of this title? I think after reading the poem, you realize that the mask is hiding sadness and the mask is happy, but the real feelings of this group of people, this we, is quite sad and tortured. The last thing to do is to talk about a theme. What is the theme? A theme is the larger idea, a larger point that the poem seems to be making. And I think in this poem, there's a theme about hiding your true self because it's too painful, or masking your sadness so that you can get by in the real world. All right, and then the very last thing you need to do is to write a response using the sentence starter. So based on what you know about Paul Laurence Dunbar, and there's an explanation at the beginning of the play, and the status of Black Americans in the early 20th century, why does the speaker feel the need to wear a mask? The speaker feels the need to wear the mask because. So you finish this off in a sentence or two. All right, so you can pick this as your must-do poem, or you can pick Sympathy, or you can pick Harlem by Langston Hughes. And Harlem is actually where we get the play's title, A Raisin in the Sun. So that'll be a great one for you to look at. All right, thanks, and good luck as you work on this assignment.